I had one friend at the farm proofread it for me, and oh, everything looks good, send it away. So the next day I faxed it and I emailed it, and I wanted to make sure it was in on time because I thought, this is really crazy. There's no way she's going to miss out on this now. So we faxed it, I emailed it, I called the woman. It's Sheila Strickler, and I call her up and I say, Sheila, did you get my fax? I just sent it through. And she said, well, no, I'm not sitting right by the fax machine, but I will, I'll check later. I'm sure it came, and if you emailed it, I'm sure it's there. Don't worry about it. I said, no, you don't understand. This is really important. This is for Helen McAurley. And Sheila, I think she's down in Virginia or something. Oh, I know Helen. Oh, I know. She's a force to be reckoned with. And right then I said, oh my gosh, this is really good. Okay, so we had to wait, I think, about 10 days to hear back. But when I heard back, I wasn't the least bit surprised that they... Where is Helen? She's right there. Oh, there she is. Okay, I wasn't the least bit surprised that she won. But so I'd like to read you all the letter that I wrote because it was the easiest thing that I think I've ever written in my whole life. And I think when you're writing something from your heart, that's just how it works. So this is from Area 8, and this is my reason for nomination for the Governor's Cup, for the National Award. I would like to nominate Helen McAurley for the Governor's Cup Award for USCA. Helen is, by far, the most dedicated volunteer I've ever met. I'm the organizer of 2 horse trials a year, and at my farm we also host many clinics, combined tests, jumper shows, and unrecognized horse trials. Helen has been the most involved volunteer by far at all of the events we've ever had. I first met Helen some 20 years ago, back in 1987. I had just graduated from college, and I was playing on an all-girls ice hockey team. Our ice time was some ungodly slot, like 11 to 1 a.m. We all diligently showed up for our practices, doing all kinds of drills and playing scrimmages. But by far, the most unique player on our team was a teeny tiny woman who couldn't have weighed more than 85 pounds and was just learning how to play hockey because her son Tommy played. It was Helen. She was all heart, and don't tell her that I said this, but she probably was slightly challenged on the ice, but that was probably just because of her size. You just kind of bump into her and she'd go flying. As the years went by, we would sit on the at the ice pavilion in the middle of the night, dressing for practices, talking about our life, our loves, our struggles, and our triumphs. One night, Helen was particularly bubbly. She had just bought her first horse, Susie, a rescued Morgan mare. It took a few years and a little prodding, but finally by about 1995, I finally convinced Helen to move to South Farm. It was about that time we started hosting USCTA events. That's what it was called back then. And Helen has been with us ever since. Most volunteers show up the day before a horse trial or the day of horse trial, or if you're really lucky, they come and help you clean up afterwards. But that's not the case with Helen. She is there from the beginning. Possibly only organizers can truly appreciate this, but there are just a few tasks, here are just a few tasks that Helen completes long before the day of the horse trial arrives. She washes and sorts pennies, orders bridle numbers, organizes ribbons, stains and paints cross-country jumps and show jumping poles. Helen collects all the daily mail and organizes all the entries. She helps sort out how many dressage tests we need. As we get closer to the show, she demonstrates her God-given talent of using all of her 85 pounds to set up a dressage ring faster than 4 grown men. I have seen this with my own eyes. And Helen and I have perfected the art of setting up a whole show jumping course from an empty field to completely ready to go in just under 4 hours. all at the same time. Helen organizes all the jump judges, making millions of phone calls and emails. She'll bump into folks all over and rope them into volunteering. Sometimes we will be in the thick of preparing for a horse trial, and as all organizers know, that pretty much means the last 2 weeks. It's our crunch time, and all of us barely stop to tie our shoes. My poor horse hates me at this time of year, and because he gets completely neglected, and my kids don't really understand what's going on yet. But luckily, my husband, who's been through this for almost 20 years, gets it. But it's often during this frantic time that I can hardly remember my name, and Helen will bring me back to reality by reminding me, of course, that she's not going to be there on Saturday. And she says she's busy. My brain is literally turning. I feel the wheels turning, and I'm thinking, where could she be going? And then she'll inform me that she's going to help somebody else with their horse trial. Or to church, to ask St. Francis to look out for us, which she always does. All I can think of, how does this tiny woman keep? She has an amazing voice, and at most of our horse shows, it is her calm, expressive voice announcing horse after horse and ride after ride. She puts up cross-country flags, decorates fences, puts up cards, stall cards, makes packets, and can steward any of the warmer areas. And with all that, Helen also manages to get herself to church every week. Don't know how she does that. She always is asking the big guy upstairs and St. Francis to please bring us a little nice weather. A few years back, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I nominated Helen for the Area 8 of the Volunteer of the Year for Area 8. I think she won hands down. And in the last few years, as we keep going along, but in preparation for this nomination, I looked back through my programs to find out what Helen had, the jobs that she had listed in all of the programs. I was horrified that I looked in my programs and I didn't see Helen's name listed under any of the officials. And as terrible as I felt, I also knew on the other hand that Helen is so woven into the fabric of South Farm and in our day-to-day events, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs. I have neglected to give credit where credit is overdue. Moreover, this past year, Helen's mare, Susie, passed away peacefully in her sleep and is buried out right next to my old faithful old Ironhead. Helen also this past spring suffered a very small stroke, and while she was helping me prepare for a series of combined tests that we were posting. She is pretty much back to full strength. I'd say this was a while ago. She's way past full strength now. But as the word of Helen's medical condition spread through the area, we were overwhelmed at South Farm with a huge number of calls and worried emails we received, and people wanted to check on Helen's condition. Helen might not be the kind of volunteer that you're looking for to receive the Governor's Cup. Maybe you're looking for folks that help out on a more financial level, not the nuts and bolts of the sport. However, if you're looking for the grassroots volunteer like her, I could go on and probably write a book on how Helen McAurley should be awarded the Governor's Cup.
I won't have my eyes open.
Except my kids.
I go want some.
Speech.
Speeches get packets.
No, I'm on the short side. I don't know where to begin. I cannot believe all this has happened. I am completely blown away. And Tom, wherever you are. Oh, there you are. We're going to have to talk later about how you're keeping secrets from me. How he did this, I have no clue. But it's all wonderful, and I want to thank each and every one of you for coming. I feel completely honored that Sarah thought enough of me to submit my name for the Governor's Cup. I didn't even know what the Governor's Cup was. I'm in tune with the eventing world as far as the eventing goes. As far as their awards go, I have no clue. So when we were down at the convention, all of a sudden I see my picture up on the wall. And what in the world is that? And Tom's going, get up there, get up there. I'm going, what? What am I doing? He says, get up on the stage, get up. I said, oh, okay. So I walked up on the stage. I don't remember one word that Jimmy Wofford said. If they'd have asked me to speak for the first time in my life, I would have been speechless. Took the award, went back and sat down and thought, what is this? I have no clue as to what it was. So then it was all over, and Jimmy thanks everybody for coming and everything, and I turned to Tom and I said, but they didn't give Sarah her award. He said, you don't understand, it wasn't about Sarah, it was about you. I said, oh, Dawn. Never been real quick in that department. Because usually people can't fool me. But they fooled me, and they fooled me well. I had no clue that we were going down there for that reason. And again, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for coming. It's a real privilege to have so many wonderful people in my life. And I consider myself very fortunate. Thank you.
Yeah.